So, thank you guys for being here. There's a lot of information that we're gonna try and cover as soon as possible. I know you guys are busy, so, first thing, our vision for the second quarter and beyond for El Paso Physical Therapy Services is in front of you. Want to make sure that you read this carefully. It's, I'm gonna say it again. It's to reflect smoothness of operations by placing staff appropriately with confidence in your skill set, your knowledge, and your independent decision-making ability. We all have those, and we need to use them. And so going forward, we want to make sure that you all feel comfortable making a decision, sticking to that decision, and going forward. As Director of Operations, I feel that operations intertwines into every aspect of the company, and so I have to be very much on top of that, and I appreciate you guys doing what you're doing, and that going forward, you will continue to do the best that we can. So keep this in mind, and we're gonna have Chole speak to you about a couple of things first.
Yes.
So a little bit more about our vision that I wanted to share with you, that I learned at a course that I took. It has to do with the elite of our military. When they are chosen to go to a mission, they determine how many soldiers of the elite level are required. And if 8 are required, those 8 go through and stick together, and they understand their vision and their mission. And so in doing so, at all given time during their preparation before they depart, they are very clear as a group, and they know each other's strengths, especially, and each other's where the strong ones, so that each of them are backing up. Because the key thing is that once the mission is called by the U.S. government, they are out, they go in, and they take care of it. And one of the things that he stressed is these people, at the time that they're in the mission, make independent calls based on the knowledge that they have. They do not wait to go back to the leader to see, can we do it? They make independent calls immediately on the spot, because it will back up the mission that they went out to do. And that's what we really, really wanted to stress today, is to make sure we trust, just by virtue of the fact that you all are here, we believe your directors and whoever hired you felt like you had the knowledge. And don't undermine your knowledge. You have an enormous amount. You have the skill sets to make decisions. You don't need to be asking your supervisor all the time, can I do this, can I not? Be an elite of the elite, and make those judgment calls. When you're not clear, you're not clear, and there's when you ask, but don't underestimate your knowledge, because that is how we're gonna get things done. That is how we're going to keep, pressing forward during a turbulent time. When the government makes that decision to send out, times are turbulent, but we can't stop, and that's why our country, even though it's going through a lot of changes, that's why our country is still very well respected worldwide, because they know the turbulence that's going around. And we have a lot of turbulence right now in our industry. Insurances are changing fast. They're needing to make more of a profit margin for their stakeholders than ever before. And so it all eventually comes down to us and consumers. They want to pay us less for what we're doing. We feel we need more staff, but we can't be thinking that way. And that's why Rudy and I spent an entire 2018 to select a reputable consultants to guide us through this very difficult time, because the first thing we do is we need more PTs to get all this done. So big journey, hang in there with us. We're moving through this, but we know that we've got people with knowledge, with strong skill sets, who can make decisions on the spot to make sure we don't lose sight of our vision and our mission in this assignment. And with that in mind, we're gonna now go into some of the compliance that's kind of popping out on this. This is kind of simple. You can take it to the next, who takes it to the next slide? Do I? Oh, sorry. Page couple of reminders, Dr. Meisenheimer's specific instruction, remember, is no bridging for any back related. He'll say it on the prescription, but just make sure that we stay right on track on that from a compliance standpoint. Right? Just another reminder about functional limitations, the FL reporting for all Medicare patients. That includes traditional Medicare and all the MAPs, so it's all Medicares. You will continue to report the FL reporting. You previously, all of last year before CMS changed it, we called it G-code reporting because the code had to end up in the billing section so that then the billing can clear through. Okay, so CMS has dropped that completely. However, the MAP population has chosen to keep it, some of them. And then, of course, Sylvia's department doesn't know who's who until we find out when we get the denial. Luckily, Sylvia has created a rebuttal, is that what an appeal process. And what she does is that she sends our documentation, because we have it in our documentation section, and that is what has saved us. So moving forward, we are still gonna continue to report what we call functional limitation reporting in our documentation. I do need that to be included on the top, very first piece of documentation in your additional evaluation findings section in Optimus. I can't make any excuses for any of you. I haven't done an audit, I don't know where it lands right now, but for auditing purposes and for appeal process purpose, we wanna know where to get our eyes to go laser focus. So we're always gonna go, the business office is always gonna go to the additional evaluation section on the top part. That's where you're gonna have your G-code functional reporting formula. But use photo and other components, and then what your FL score should be at time of discharge. Right? And again, the purpose of it is for insurance appeals. And so thank you for keeping that up. She'll just keep telling us on a quarterly basis whether we do it or not. Okay, the next thing, just want you to remember that we still need to do the justification statement. That never dropped, it is still required. You have to be thinking money when it comes to that. You do have a cap of $2,040 for the 2019 year. So your justification statement will always be under your assessment section in Optimus, and then you notify your OC that it's done. They will usually also notify you that you need one. I need your justification statement to be in caps so that Sylvia's and my eyes can pick it up right away, because we don't want it meshed. So we would love you if you would also put extra space. That way our eyes go straight to it. And it should be the last section of your assessment. So you can say whatever you want to for that reval day. And then at the very end, you start writing your justification statement. If for any reason Lydia feels it's not enough to appeal, to pass an audit, she'll contact me and we'll get back with you, okay? Let's see, I was gonna make one other statement on that. Any questions for right now, general questions on the justification statement? Now, just from a teaching perspective, remember, you can identify a justification statement on day one of the evaluation. You sense that clinical condition has enough medical complexities to take it to 22 visits, 23. Because on the average 19, am I correct? We found out in our practice 19 visits gets you like right almost there. So if you identified an incredible, and it happens to us, it doesn't happen a lot. Don't hesitate to identify that on day one. And always remember, our Optimus software has the opportunity, you have to click that your documentation includes a justification statement. Lydia will catch it one way or another, but sometimes it's as simple as clicking it that you missed, but the justification statement does need to be there. Let's see. Claims are subject to review at the 2019 threshold of 3,700. So, like I said back in November, I think it was the December meeting that we had, 3,000 is what we used to call the max. After that, you have to appeal. This one is at 3,700 and above, they have every right to audit your chart. And you better have good documentation. So So in summary, this is what I wanna tell you. If indeed Lydia and I calculated that about 19 visits gets you to this year's cap, $2,040, how many more visits do you think you have left over? Probably just half of that. So you probably only have about 10 more visits to really push it. So you wanna start getting that patient ready for discharge. If not, Lydia will stop it really fast. And it has to, and then I will have to do an extensive audit, and I don't wanna have to do that with you all. It takes my time. I'll do it for the company, but also know that as a clinician, I have to pull out of patient care to do that. So if you all can just know those principles, it works pretty good. So in summary, this is what I think from a mathematical standpoint. 19 plus 10 is 29. You're pushing it after that. Just remember that. And if you need to go down to 1-1-1-1 during the last 4 visits, and see how they can do on their own, have them come back on a weekly basis. Again, so those are, and if not, start thinking of what we call gaps, which is stop the treatment, discharge, even though the doctor says to continue. It's your reputation, not the doctor's. If you truly believe this is the most you can do, don't be afraid to discharge and have the courage to contact the doctor. Doesn't happen very often, but it happens. So Margot, we'll try not to be negative to a doctor, but yes.
If I can make a comment, the justification statement, just keep in mind, and this is from a billing standpoint, professionals, keep in mind that we bill on a monthly basis Medicare claims. So what happens is that the sooner the better, because once you select the justification statement, April 29 on that visit, then the claim goes in and it exceeded the cap, and we get it back. So then I need to make an appeal with the KX modifier, because the other, what it happens, it processes some data services, but not the other data services, because it's only an estimated amount that we are calculating. So if you all can help us, because keep in mind that we bill Medicare on a monthly basis, so if you can put your justification statement, the sooner, the better from a billing standpoint. So
Thank you. I didn't ever look at it from that angle, from that perspective.
So,
Okay, let me see if I'm kind of hearing her correctly. I'm gonna recap it for us PTs, but guys, please raise your hands, because this is so what you're saying is on day 1, we see them for the first 30 days, and then it's time for a reevaluation, and we don't feel like there's time for a justification yet. So then we go on to the next, and now it's time, but they're already getting, your month hasn't finished, so you haven't finished billing. We create possibly 5 more visits for the remaining month, and then now we're over. Oof.
that claim comes back, even though we put the KX modifier towards the end, they still, because it's only an estimated amount, then they send the claim back, and they don't pay. Then I need to put KX modifiers more to other CPT codes, because it's not your fault or any, and I have spoken with several representatives, is the way their system
Their software system is programmed.
process the claim for payment.
PTs, please ask her. This is a good time to ask her any questions. Any thoughts?
Okay, so just, you rather us do the KX modifier on that first rebound instead of waiting to do it a little bit later?
If you feel that that patient is gonna continue and need, yes.
Past the
Okay.
19? Should we stick to the 19? If we feel at the time of night evaluation, even if it's just 11 visits so far, but we think that that case is gonna go past 19, let's go ahead and create the justification statement, because that will hit us that month.
And usually, if we have like 12 visits from the physician, we can't go past 19 anyways or even past 12 until we get a referral, so that'll prompt us to do that justification.
Yeah,
statement.
that's true. So then the
Whereas
next
we already
referral.
told the physician, yeah, we do need more to go further, so.
Good point.
Now we can just couple that with all the Medicare and put, the justification statement on that first read.
And this is for Medicare traditional.
Medicare, but you know what, some of you don't mind, oh, yeah,
I mean-
our brains, thank you. Chelsea goes down with her head. What we PTs decided, we're just gonna go across the board for all Medicare, and it was just right, keeps life a little easier for us. Okay, okey doke, let's see, and then Chelsea gives us the next presentation.
functional. Like for instance, I'll put a heel slide as 5-3-0 because I don't get out of bed like a wooden board. I have to bend my knees, turn onto my side, and push off. So I'll put heel slides on there. Sometimes I cover for another therapist and I'll see like pulleys under 110. And I'm like, well, that's functional if you're trying to reach forward or overhead. I'll put pulleys under 5-3-0. Sometimes I think it's a little easier to think of what not to put under 5-3-0, so I don't put stretches. I don't put isometrics. I don't put nerve glides under 5-3-0. So if you can't justify it, then just don't put it under 5-3-0. I found that if we bill at least 2 units of 5-3-0 on almost everybody, we reach 40% every single time.
Makes sense.
And I also like that you pulleys, you'll say to simulate, you
Forward.
actually enter
Overreach.
to simulate reaching.
Reaching overhead, reaching out to the side.
And then when I first saw her heel slide, she said heel slide to simulate bed transfers. So she justified why she was putting it under that.
So if you guys need help with justification, let me know.
Well,
Text me
a
and-
question with that, just kind of just a rebuttal. If we were to get out of bed, and the auditor asks you, wow, did you assess his ability to get out of bed? Can you justify that as well?
If you what, sorry?
Did you assess transfers, bed transfers? I mean, you would document that as well, right? Before you could make that as a functional activity?
I guess so.
Well,
I
someone
mean,
that's more debilitated, that would be more of a 5-3-0, but someone that's just like a basic, say a younger person that just had a meniscus repair or whatever, and they're just doing, maybe not, that's a bad example, because they're post-surgical, but.
But it's still functional.
But I hear what you're saying, they'll say it to you subjectively, I'm having trouble getting out of bed, and then during either posture, standing, or transfers, because I don't put transfers on every, it's patient, it was evident that patient's not able to transfer without assistive device, both on the treatment table as well. So there's where you pick up your transfer assessment, but I agree with you.
Right.
But I like what she said, it doesn't mean that all heel slides go into 975.
Yeah, that's more-
Some of them are plainly strengthening.
Okay.
I describe it as transitional movements instead of transfers. Because you gotta
Oh.
transition from sit to stand or supine to standing. It's a
supine to
transition.
sideline.
Mhm.
And proud to say that this morning, HB, for 2 weeks in a row, or is it
Actually
3
3
now?
weeks already.
Oh, look at him, he's gonna tell me 3. He has been at 46%. Oh, thank you for correcting me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Martin?
Oh,
You can do this.
it's-
You can get it.
I'm gonna go over the patient text, and these are thank you texts that we wanna send to the patients after their evaluations. So after the patient comes in, the earliest we would like to send it as soon as soon as they walk out the door. But we wanna try to do it no later than when the therapist turns in their new patient packet, which should be in about 48 hours. But we wanna try to get that text sent out before their next scheduled appointment, so that way they have, we're telling them that, thank you. So Armando, he found a website for us to use. It's called www.textfree.us. There is a login for all 3 facilities. The username for Horizon will be the El Paso PT. For East, it'll be El Paso PT-East. West will be El Paso PT-West. And the password for all 3 facilities will be the El Paso PT-0 Okay, so once you go to the website and you log in, there'll be a little yellow compose button on the top left-hand corner. You'll click on that button, and that will open up the text for you to be able to put in the phone number. So you'll put in the patient's phone number. Only the front office has it. Sorry, ma'am. As long as the patient gives us the consent to send them the text, you'll put in their phone number. At the top, so it's just like doing it from your phone. And then at the bottom, you'll put the message. The message that was approved by the board was, thank you for choosing El Paso Physical Therapy Services. We appreciated the opportunity to take care of your rehabilitation needs and well-being put both of them on the text if you want, if you're not too sure if it'll be English or Spanish. There's the Spanish. And then just another site that he included was just in case you wanted to save the patient's phone number. There's a way to save it, but for right now, since we're only doing the evaluations, there's really no need to save that, but just in case in the future we decide to use it for other purposes, that's how you can save it.
Did the Spanish version have the website?
Nope.
There was
No, it didn't. So we'll just have it. Just have it. And you can do, when I was looking at this yesterday, I don't know if you all use the sticky notes on your computers. You can actually use the sticky notes to save this, so that way when you're going into sending it, just copy and paste it onto the text. Cause I went into the program yesterday just to see if maybe we can automatically already have it in there as like a message, but it doesn't actually save the message.
Does it have, can you add the hyperlink to it?
I can ask Armando, I'm not too sure. Can we add the hyperlink to the text?
Of course you can.
Wonderful. Questions?
Thank you.
You wanna present since
Sure.
you're
Yep, I'm done.
Oh.
I am done.
Oh,
actually.
you couldn't come out 2 minutes earlier.
I'm back.
Monica is like,
We're connected.
You should practice.
Okay, so the next one's gonna be an over continuing education credit and how to request your CCUs. Question comes up continuously, so we decided to go ahead and refresh everybody's minds as far as how we do that. So first, there are 2 methods to register for your CCUs. The first one is kind of universal in both methods. Is locate the course that you wish to take. Please make sure that they're accredited with the TPTA, the APTA, to make sure that you're going to get credit for your courses. Register for your course to include paying for the course yourself. Okay, so you can use a credit card or any kind of method of payment that you wish to do. And then you can submit your receipt to your OC for reimbursement, keeping in mind that the reimbursements are done the 15th and the last day of every month. So if you give it to me on the 16th, you're not going to get it probably until the 15th of the next month. Okay, because it takes a while for us to get it in and all that good stuff. Okay, the next method is again, locate the course that you wish to take, making sure you got the proper criteria. Fill out the registration form completely, leaving no blanks for Mondo to guess where your next CCU is due or what address you want, and completely filled out. Give the completed form to your OC. Your OC will then turn in your registration, and then I'll submit it to payables and we'll mail a check to the company that you decided to take the course with, and then be on the lookout for the email to confirm your registration. When you're filling out your form, make sure it's an email that you're familiar with, because some of you give us your personal, and to me that's fine. So as long as you don't come later and say, hey, how come I haven't got my registration, because then I won't be able to check for you. So then be lookout for your email confirmation. So 2 methods: pay for it yourself, we will reimburse you, or look at the course, fill out the form completely, give it to your OC, and then we'll take care of the rest, and then be on the lookout for your email for your confirmation. When we do method number 2, which is mailing a check, and you always have that variable, if it's a week before your course, or maybe a little bit before, you haven't received anything, please let us know immediately. That way I can get with Anna, find out if the check is cleared. If it hasn't cleared, then we can take other steps. I can pay for it on the company credit card and make sure that's completely taken care of. That way you don't miss your course. But please don't wait till the last day or the day before or 2 days prior and be like, Mondo, I haven't got an email yet, because then it makes it kind of hard. The course is closed, the fees go up. I mean, it's just a bunch of little variables that can occur, okay? So that's your continuing education, and that includes your APTA. Making sure when you give us your APTA information, same 2 methods: pay for your APTA membership, we'll reimburse you, or fill out the form, and then just here, again, name, email, whichever one you want. Don't leave
your job title blank, don't leave organization blank. The building address, all that is the corporate address. Make sure you fill everything, including your license cycle, your renewal date, everything that's required. Once we get that, we'll send that for you. Okay? Any questions, y'all?
Corporate address is 5151.
Is a 6051 Duke Drive, corporate address. This is the corporate office. All of our billing goes straight through here. Correspondence goes there, and then we can funnel it to you. Even though we know you're practicing at 1891 or at 13791, this is your corporate address. Okay, that's
Before you do all that, please get with your director so it is approved. Don't submit the last day, the last.
That's gonna be on the next slide. Make sure that you get look at your PTO calendar, making sure that you have availability to take that time off. Before you pay for it, before we pay for it, make sure that that's available. Thank you, so that's great.
Please in the calendar.
Okay, and that's our presentation. Thank you, Lydia, for doing the first portion. No, I gotta be going back and forth. Thank you. I was just available to do it for PTO.
From human resources, the first one is just to let everybody know on the check stub that you received on May 3rd, inserted dental and vision information. The month of May is open enrollment, and coverage will be effective for June 1st through May 31st, 2020. Full-timers, part-timers, everybody is eligible. And an enrollment form needs to be filled out. If right now you are participating on dental or vision, you have to fill out another form because we need your signature. And it's not EPPTS, it is the Concentra and Concordia, and I'm forgetting the name of the other company. But you need to fill out a form, an enrollment form again. Payroll deductions or deductions, because if you only participate in vision or both plans, will begin on your check date, June 14th, and it is for 26 pay periods, how we divide your deduction. And the deadline to submit all of your enrollment form or forms is May 17, 2019.
Does it say that on the paper that you sent, in there as well? Okay, good.
Yes, all that information is there. The amounts are also in there. So May 17th, if I'm not mistaken, is this Friday. So please submit the form because we need to put it together. We need to put it on the system. We need to update the payrolls. It's a process. So please help us with the deadline. Okay. The next item is for PTs and PTAs time off and coverage guidance. And we have been discussing and again, these are guidelines. I have been working in the PTO calendar for the professionals for the last probably
10 years at least.
and it's not easy. It's not easy. Now, before I start, I'm thinking, I remember I had people, staff that had worked in hospitals in the billing office, and even billing staff in a hospital, they are required to go to work, even if the weather, they don't have any excuse, and they even have a transportation to go and pick them up, even if they say, no, I cannot go. So that is for a billing staff member, so I cannot imagine what is the process for a professional, which is a physician or nurse or, because at all times hospital. So we all made the decision to work in this industry and we need to take care of our patients. So the goals that we have established and why we are coming up with these guidelines is of course to assure patient care continues without interruption. Patient care is important. Margot always professionals that they wanna go on the same week, the same days, or the holidays, which, you know, and we understand. I mean, we understand, we all have families, we need to enjoy in somewhere there is, so let me finish. But we also need to make sure that, that we have proper coverage in all three clinics. We have goals to meet, you know, I need to make payments on behalf of the company, for payroll, for all of us, each of our paychecks, as well as our vendors, clients. So I need to make sure that I have the money. So I need for you all to meet the goals, and not because, we can go on vacations, it's a benefit with the company, and again, keep in mind, it's a benefit for employers. So not all the employers, offer, vacations, sick time and all that. I mean, it depends on the industry, but there are industries that they do not offer these benefits. Number 4 is to provide much needed time for rest and relaxation to our professional team. So the board members are very well aware, you all are very valuable, to the company and to the board members. So that's why benefits, the personal day was added, recently, like probably 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, 3 years ago. So it's for you to be with your family. So let me start explaining the guidelines. This is a table after several recommendations and drafts that were, presented. This is the final one that was approved by the team. And the key is we have identified 9 scenarios, and again, it's based on history. And then, of course, the key is how many professionals can be out, and where, at what time is a dangerous situation for the company, along with the number of consecutive business days that professionals can be out. Again, so the number of professionals is key. The number of consecutive business days is also a key, and the number of clients. From there, we decided, we went along after reviewing history, years of history, and allow, if it will be allowed, and if coverage is needed or not. And of course, some comments that, sometimes it's so funny that, I get an email, and 5 seconds after I get another email. So, and it is asking for the same day. It's asking, and sometimes it's even worse, because they call me or they spoke with somebody, they call me and tell me, oh, I'm gonna ask for this day and it's available and all that, but then I got another email before you submit it. So, I need a form. Talking to me is not good. I'm supposed to, so it has a form. My email is my email. So we know